and the kiln's barely half full. Loading it by hand is taking its toll.
28. 30. Oh no, stop!
31.
What am I doing?
He's becoming delirious.
33. Doing this completely by hand has given us a real insight into what it must have been like to load these things. I mean, they would have had trains delivering the materials here, but I wouldn't have been surprised if these have to be stacked in this way, that it would have been a man with his shovel doing all this work.
After 18 hours of shoveling, 12 tons of limestone and 3 tons of coal have been loaded.
There we go.
That's it all in.
Finally, it's time to light the kiln.
You ready for an ember, yeah? Where do you want it? Just here?
On the paper, yeah, just get the paper going. It's getting exciting here.
Yeah, it's starting to go.
Gases produced by burning limestone include the deadly carbon monoxide.
Wow.
There's no going back now.
It's as if somebody down below is stoking some
Hellfire.
yeah, some hellfire, some mysterious brew, really, isn't it? During the 19th and early part of the century, when there was a lot of rural poverty around, people who were on the road would come and sort of sleep around the kilns. And if the carbon monoxide rendered them unconscious and they turned over, rolled into the furnace, there was no way back. They were roasted alive.
Now they must take it in turns to keep watch on the lime kiln for 3 days and 3 nights.
Oh, my word. You can just really get a sense now of what it would have been like to have been lime burning in these kilns over 100 years ago.
But as they check the fire below, it's clear all's not well.
Fire is burning too low. We need it to be burning higher. We should see glowing cherry red limestone. At the moment we just see flatness, darkness, and it's all cold in there.
They need to get as much air into the kiln as possible to make it burn hotter. If the fire goes out now, it would be disastrous. Back at Morwell Quay, Ruth's cooking up a treat for their return. Sheep's head stew.
This is one of the most gruesome things I've ever had to do. Now, the recipe I'm using comes from this fantastic little booklet called The Best Way. The cheapest cookery book in the world, it says. After preparing the head in the usual way, put it in a stew pan with the tongue and cover with the water. That whole sentence, prepare the sheep's head in the usual way, it really points out what a common dish this was for the less well-off. Unsurprisingly, the head of the sheep is pretty much the cheapest cut on it. So if you've got to buy meat, or if you have got beasts and you need to sell most of them on, this is pretty much the cheapest cut. There is quite a lot of meat on it, though. Funny enough, in the Edwardian period, people were doing this a little bit less than they had before. Ship technology and refrigeration technology began to make it possible for meat to be brought halfway around the world. And frozen lamb from Australia and New Zealand began to become the sheep meat of most ordinary Britons rather than our native homegrown sheep. Because with New Zealand lamb being cheaper, you could actually have a lump, a joint, for the same sort of price as you might have for something like a head. This sort of idea of getting as much as possible out of a really small amount of meat is such a theme through Edwardian cooking. People are mostly living on really starchy, solid things like large bowls of potato, lots of bread, lots of oatmeal, which is cheap and fills you up. Because it's a really, really bland, boring diet. So a little bit of meat, even if it's something like a sheep's head, just adds so much flavour into these really, really boring, stodgy basics.
For 2 days, the lime burners have been tending the kiln, trying to get as much air into the fire as possible. But Colin's still concerned.
The worry is that if there's not enough air going in, it can actually go out.
So we would have to shovel everything out and that would be it, failure.
Yeah, it would be raking it out. We had a big hole to put it in at the top and a little one to get it out at the bottom.
Yeah,
So
it would take ages.
It would.
All they can do is hope their efforts haven't been in vain.
There's one sure way to test whether this limestone's been burnt or not, and that's to add it to water. And if it's been burnt through, it should slake. If it hasn't been burnt through, it will just remain as a stone.
Okay, let's see it go in then. Not a lot going on there, is there?
There it goes.
Down to it.
Wow!
There it goes.
Look at that! That's excellent! It's amazing.
That's the transformation from limestone to quicklime to lime putting, which is what we're after. And if the rest of the kiln's like that, then we're in business.
It's the 3rd day of the burn, and all the limestone should have turned into quicklime. Now the dangerous part, unloading the kiln. Quicklime dust reacts violently with moisture, so if it touches skin or is inhaled, it will burn. Time for some Edwardian health and safety.
As I'm likely to sweat an awful lot whilst doing this because of the heat of the kiln and just the physical activity, I've made myself some protective gear. So I have my hood. People will laugh, but I think I shall have the last laugh. I even made myself some mittens. Long sleeve numbers. Oh. I've got an apron here. I'm going all out for this. Can't see a thing. Last thing, goggles. If I say goggles, they're more like shades. There we go. I'm ready to deal with a quicklime.
Let me take these off so I can see. You're like a giant teddy bear. Right, well, with all that gear then, I suppose you should be the one that's right in at the stoke hole, yeah?
Yeah, the coal face.
The burn should have produced 10 tons of quicklime, all of which must be unloaded by hand.
It truly is an awful job.
The mesh is used to separate the quality quicklime from the spoil.
Ah, this is killing me. Probably quite literally. Right.
So here we go, it's the final process of the day. This highly caustic substance going into our barrel, and then we can get this back to the farm, but it's an absolute joy to have got so far. Here we have it, caustic lime. It's what we came for, and it's what we're going to come away with.
After 3 days of back-breaking work, they've produced 10 tons of quicklime. Now they must get it onto the field.
Steady, boy.
This is what it's all about. This is why we did the lime burn, to get this on the fields.
Stand, whoa, wait, steady. Whoa, steady. Steady, steady, boy. Whoa! It's been a long few days. Stand there, boy. But it seems that this fella's as new to lime spreading as we are. That's it. Ready? Aye, steady.
In Edwardian Devon, it was often part of a tenant farmer's contract to lime his fields to neutralise the acidic soil.
This really does kick-start our arable project. We're getting the fertiliser on, this will start slaking, we'll work it into the ground, and then all of this lime will invigorate the organic matter in the soil and create that fertility that we'll need to grow our crops. Just easy, it's all right, it's good.
Rain's on the way, so they've got to work fast to avoid disaster.
This is going to start slaking in the back of our tip cart, which means the tip cart might catch on fire. There are accounts of these wagons full of quicklime, caught in the rain like this, whoosh.
Stop. Okay, last one.
Yeah.
Really good.
With seconds to spare, they get the last of the lime onto the field. The exhausted boys have returned to the cottage. It's a chance to catch up with Ruth over the sheephead stew.
How'd it go?
Very well, thank you.
Very well, actually. Remarkably well.
I have to say, Ruth, your rug looks tasty, but I'm not so sure about that.
I'm not normally queasy about food, but I've got to say...
Well, I did wonder about taking the head out and not telling you what was in it.
Oh, dear.
But then I thought, I don't know, they're big tough boys.
How cruel.
So, tell me about this lime then.
To be honest, there wasn't that much to see after the loading other than an awful lot of smoke. But the stuff we're getting out the bottom seems to be top notch.
Yeah, we've got some pretty good lime, actually. So you pleased to have the cottage up and running now?
Oh, I certainly am. It's marvellous when we get on with things.
It certainly looks a lot more homely than it did the first time we stepped in here.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Nice and warm as well, actually. That range is really kicking out.
Yeah,
I can feel that there. I can feel that heat there on my hand.
It's pretty good. I sort of feel now, you know, a month under our belts, it's all ready to start, isn't it?
We've got all sorts of enterprises we've got to start kicking off. I mean, one of the big things, certainly in the Edwardian period, was this market garden. So we've really got to get our heads around that and how we're going to approach that in the coming months.
Cheers.
So we've got our rick, we've got all our hay there. You know, we are ready to start getting some more livestock in, and we're kind of prepped for winter, almost.
Well, we've got the team all assembled, so Edwardian Britain, here we come.
Yeah, it's great to be back in the saddle.
Well, it's all here. It's just a case of bringing it back to life.
Next time on Edwardian Farm, time to branch out into new ventures. Market gardening, egg production, and a beef herd. But to make it a success, they must be up and running before the frost comes. Then they can see in the winter with an Edwardian Halloween.
Coming up, the voices of our ancestors, celebrating the chaotic, dynamic history of civilization with Richard Miles and Ancient Worlds, brand new, next on BBC Two.